What up, crypto fam? It's Phantom back with another video. Looking at the markets today, it's Thursday, March 24th, 11:04 p.m. and we're continuing upside momentum. We started talking about this the beginning of last week, that the charting point should be the end of last week, and at the end of last week we started to rally towards the upside. Looks like we've started to push through this first level of resistance quite well. There are smaller resistance blocks, daily resistance block levels still in play between these two larger resistance chunks. That said, this is a healthy move up where we move up to a certain level, we consolidate, and then we continue to push to the upside again, instead of the crazy momentum rallies that we've seen before that generally end in us crashing back down. It's not sustainable. This is a lot more sustainable move to the upside, so I'm happy to see it. I am here for this. So my opinion is that we continue to move to the upside, just in a slow way. I think we will continue to get pullbacks as we hit daily resistance levels, and that's to be expected. The resistance and getting pullbacks are healthy for the market, because when there's a lot of buying pressure, even with strong resistance levels, that means that there's so much buying pressure that we're continuing to push through blocks of resistance to the upside. And that means that there's ultimately more buying pressure than selling pressure, which is positive news for our continuation to the upside. So I think we continue to move up. I think it's going to continue to be slow, and as we get through these daily levels, we may hit periods of time where there's just not a lot of resistance structure, and we rip higher for a few $1,000s at a time. But I think if we keep on the pace that we're keeping, I see a healthy growth on the way up. I would love to see, us to beat all-time highs again. I think a lot of the market's coming back strong. You're starting to see some altcoins rally and things like that. I'm still not jumping in just yet, because if Bitcoin does hit a strong resistance or momentum flips, the altcoins will get wrecked first. So there's no pain in ensuring that we clear the large resistance levels that we have before starting to dump money into the market. That's my opinion, obviously not financial advice, but that's what I'll be looking to do. So at these levels, I may start just small dips into, just slowly dipping my feet into the water on some altcoins. Like, I'd probably take a look at HBAR, I'd take a look at, I think Compound we'll see a rise if we do well in the alt season. Neo is another one. I think Cosmos, Atom will do well. I actually put in my very first small buy order on Atom at about $28, and it's doing well so far. Just slowly but surely starting to feed into the market as Bitcoin continues to show positive momentum. I'm hoping that it will, and like it's done in the past, show this momentum for weeks. And when it starts showing for weeks on end is when the altcoins start to get more exciting. So when we do show this for a period of time and momentum is clearly towards the upside, I will start introducing some altcoins into these videos. If you have any altcoins that you'd like to see added, for sure send me a message. Subscribe. I send all these videos to YouTube as well. Make comments. Happy to look at any of them, chart any of them out, show the major resistance and support blocks, and any trend analysis that I might see. We'll take a look at the Fear and Greed Index. We're sitting at 47, so we are quickly moving towards the greed side of the Fear and Greed Index now that bullish momentum seems to be taking over. There are a lot of bears on Twitter still calling for 29K. It's disappointing because, not that the opinions aren't valued or incorrect, the 29K is still very much a possibility, but some of the charts are getting manipulated to show the bias that they're sitting in, And I think that's dangerous. Let the data show what the data is going to show. And it's healthy for people to push back on you and ask questions. I think there needs to be more transparency in the space. It'd be great if Twitter moved to blockchain, right, where people couldn't just delete their posts that are wrong or what have you. I would like to see more responsibility and accountability taken from those that have, 100,000, 200,000 followers. I think they have a service to their following to show truthful information, to not manipulate these charts in order to reflect their biased opinion, because there's enough people following them that may make poor decisions. Not that it's on the influencer of people making decisions based off of it, because no one should be making financial advice off of someone's opinion. But that said, it does carry weight, and because it does carry weight, I think there's a responsibility to the content creator to have accountability when they are wrong and to post as truthful information as you can. I've seen Elliott wave charts where the counts are off, where they don't follow the correct structure rules of Elliott waves, and they get called out on it, and they just ignore and continue to post their own biased opinion. So I'm hoping that changes soon. Whether we go to bear market or stay in bull market, I think content creation should be truthful and honest and reflect the person's opinion based off accurate data. So that's it for my high horse. I'll get to the news stories that I found interesting for today. The Bank of England calls for more regulation as UK crypto firms express frustration with the current rules. So I was reading this article. It's really fascinating to find out that a lot of the frustration that the crypto firms are expressing are because of the regulations and those that are in charge of the regulations. It's taking forever to get responses from the people that create regulation. They're dragging their feet. They're not responding at all. These people are trying to play by the rules and do all the registration process to get all of their I's dotted, T's crossed in order to comply with all the regulation rules so that they continue to have crypto firms in the UK. But the regulation authorization individuals are dragging their feet and making it a difficult, painful, slow, tedious process that may not be able to be completed, not because of lack of effort, but because of lack of response. And I think they're shooting themselves in the foot. I think they're doing themselves a disservice by doing this, because if people can't innovate in the UK, they will innovate in other places. I think crypto's proven during this time that it's not going to slow down for anyone. They can continue to enforce rules. They can continue to make outrageous claims. They can continue to try to lock down as much as they want to try to lock things down. Life's going to find a way, and it may not happen. The innovation may not happen in these large leaders of technology and the leaders of innovation in the past. They might lose that lead. The United States may not lead on innovation if cryptocurrency can't be, and blockchain development can't happen the way it needs to happen here. If they exercise rules to make it almost impossible for anybody to do blockchain or cryptocurrency development here in the United States, the development will just happen in other parts of the world, and innovation will continue to grow. They're late to the game. To try to pull the rug on it at this point, it's like trying to shut down the internet. It's not something that they can do, that they have the power to do. And if they try to enforce it, the innovation is just going to happen elsewhere, and they're going to be left behind. So I think they have a very important decision on their hands, and I hope they understand the gravity of the situation and take proper steps to helpful regulation. Regulation can be a good thing. Having these markets regulated is going to be healthy. You don't want all the Ponzi schemes. You don't want Joe Schmo making another, you know, Dogecoin, for lack of a better example. It's, you know, just a copy of Bitcoin with a meme on it. You don't want companies to be able to create whatever they want in order to seek funding. That said, I think it's extremely important that the large innovating countries get on board with this and put the proper staffing needed to understand the technology and put regulation around it instead of putting regulation around it before understanding the technology. I think that's an important order of operations. The other cool news article that I found is, doesn't surprise me, but some of the pump today may have been correlated to Russia mulling that they would accept Bitcoin for oil payments, meaning that anybody that wants to trade with Russia can pay Russia in Bitcoin and avoid sanctions that way. The Bitcoin still ultimately has to be converted to some type of currency in order for Russia to use it, unless other countries start accepting Bitcoin from Russia or from anywhere else in the world for large scale things such as oil trades. I don't see that part happening just yet. I think Russia's doing this out of a extreme need, and I also think that they're doing it just as a fear type based tactic. If they say that they're going to accept Bitcoin payments, they already know most governments are scared of Bitcoin, scared of what it can do, want to regulate it to death, and I think it's a bigger move. I think they know that a lot of people are frustrated with governments trying to regulate cryptocurrency, and this type of push may force the government's hands to start looking at cryptocurrencies as a larger quote-unquote threat and upset their people and have their people push back on government that way. So it may be a larger play, I'm not sure, but it's ultimately the transactions of Bitcoin for whatever it is good for the Bitcoin market, right? Adoption's adoption at this point. So we'll see where this goes. I doubt it really goes anywhere. I think it's more fear-based posting and news, pushing the news out to instill some fear into the governments that are trying to sanction and control Russia finances. I think this is their way to say that, you know, you can sanction us all you want, but we will find a way. So we'll see if it works out. Anyhow, it did have at least some impact on the Bitcoin price today, but we'll see where it continues to go. The last really, really cool article that I found is the studio behind PUBG, the big game that came out where they, kind of similar to Fortnite, where they drop 100 players into an arena and they battle it out. The studio behind PUBG is going to make a Solana NFT game. And the larger big-time gaming content creator companies that can come out and start to work with Web3 is going to lead to huge adoption. These companies have their pulse on what a lot of the gaming community wants in a game, and the fact that they're going to start using Web3 technology to start building future games, I think is a very bullish thing for crypto as a whole. I think it's going to be, I think this is just the start. I think you'll see a lot bigger gaming companies coming in trying to get into the Web3 space, similar to a lot of the, like Facebook, Meta trying to get into the space. Everybody's trying to create some type of NFT. I think there's a lot of hype in the market right now, and I think that hype may push our final rally before we start a more corrective cycle. That said, hopefully they find enough benefit in this while they're in the space that they continue to build even during the bear market. I think we saw a lot of the fruitful projects that have come out continue to build, continue to develop while in the bear cycle. They just continue building. The price is not the goal. The the goal is creating a quality platform, quality content at the end of the day. So I think this is extremely bullish. I'm excited to see the development that goes on. I'll be watching this story closely. Obviously, being a developer, I'm very interested to see what they can do with the Web3 platform, to see what they can start to implement, what type of ideas they have. So I think more bullish news for the space is obviously good, especially with the price action that we've been seeing. But just to wrap up, I think my final thoughts are, I think we continue to move to the upside. I think we will get pullbacks as we hit daily resistance structures along the way up. When we obviously hit spaces between those, we may see some sharper rise up, but the way that we're moving up right now, I think is extremely healthy, where we have kind of consolidation at certain price levels, then continuation up, we consolidate, then make continuation up. I'll be happy, continuing this for the next few weeks before we really start to get, gas on the fire and start pushing to the upside for what I think will be one of the largest and possibly the last rally that we see this year. I think this may be it before we start a more corrective trend to the market, but I do think that this is the start to our final push up, and I'm hopeful that continues to play out. But if not, we'll continue to talk about it on the channel, and I hope that you have a great rest of your Thursday. I hope you have an amazing Friday, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Until then, peace.